Hi, friends, and welcome to your weekly read for the week of March 22nd. I've got a nice story to tell you here today, but before that, I want to get to a couple of announcements and updates. The main one being that I have rebranded a little bit, so this has been coaching with Crystal for a while now. I would say about year and a half, 2 years, I guess. Um, and about, I would say January, but definitely February of this year, I started to feel really kind of stifled and stagnated when it came to reading. Like I spent a good month, the month of February and then a little bit of January, just really not being able to read tarot. Couldn't, just didn't quite have it. I was just feeling kind of stuck, blocked energy, and there were a lot of reasons for that. But I was very determined to get through that particular block and had been working pretty intensely with my guides. And what came out for the Virgo full moon was to offer a giveaway. So a giveaway is, in kind of the Western sense, you're giving something away for free. But in a more spiritual sense, and definitely in a lot of indigenous cultures, there are it's a ceremony known as a giveaway, and you give gifts to people that matter to you and who have helped you along your journey, or will help you along your journey. You never really know, right? Like sometimes you just gotta let go and let creator do their thing. But anyway, I was like, talking with my guides, and I was like, I'm stuck. I don't really know what to do. I'm feeling this kind of exciting new energy, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing with it. And then that full moon came down in Virgo at the end of February, and I was kind of called to provide, to live in service, essentially. And I am a Virgo. My son is in Virgo, so the call to service is a call that I'm quite familiar with. And so when I was called to work in service after that full moon, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Let's do a spark here and do a giveaway. And the giveaway and working in service was to give away free tarot readings. And I figured a handful of people would take me up on that here and there, but lots and lots of people have taken me up on that. Lots of people. And it's been such a fun, interesting, wild ride. And I've really enjoyed the time that I've spent doing these readings for people, just to do them, just to offer that thing. And by way of that, I ended up doing a lot of, energetic co-creating with people. I was talking with people that had a lot of entrepreneur energy, people that were, navigating some deeper waters, people at crossroads, all of this different energy, right? And, all of the lessons and things that come from that. And this is the power of the giveaway. It's not the, I get something, I give away something free, and that's the end of that. It's much more powerful than that, because the funny thing about the giveaway is oftentimes the person giving something away ends up receiving more than they gave. And definitely case in point for me in these last few weeks as I've been, as I've been in this giveaway energy. And what that has, one of the things that has come out of that, one of the sparks that has kind of flown in this month for me is to sort of change up what I'm about, although not really. It's okay. I got to go kind of Western here because I can't think of the right word for this. I've rebranded. Long-winded way to say that I've rebranded, but in a way that is really meaningful for me. And so those of you that have been listening to me for the last few videos and have been working with me over the last month, may be aware that I've been going under the Coaching with Crystal moniker. And, that worked for me for the last year and a half, 2 years or so. It was a different practice then. But the shift has moved in a different direction, and now I will not be offering personal coaching sessions anymore. It's a very different modality, a very different technique, and I'm going to focus solely on tarot, because that's the direction that I'm really being called to go at this point. And so I've rebranded, and you can now find me at takatarot.com, and that is Taka tarot.com. And Taka is the Japanese word for hawk, and I have had a very strong connection with hawks since, oh, let's think here, last summer. Last summer, I was living in a more urban area than I am at currently. That's been one of the changes in the last 6 months or so. But I was living in a more urban area where hawks are not as common. You don't see them as often as if you're out, in the country. And there was this one red-tailed hawk that started showing up and hanging out a lot. And then when some things shifted in my life in the last 6 months, and I moved to a more rural area, as I was searching for a place, there was the one that I ended up in, and the whole drive and the whole journey was just covered with hawks. I mean, I saw so many red-tailed hawks, and now I continue to see them, and I'm seeing different kinds of hawks where I live, and getting a lot of messages and a lot of really focused and wonderful energy around it. So, long story short, definitely long story, long story short, I've decided to honor that and rebrand a little bit and go with Taka Tarot, Hawk Tarot, and kind of honor that experience and a journey of my own. So, thank you to the collective for being so open with your energy and your collaboration, and giving me that energy and clarity that I needed to go in a direction that makes sense, and will hopefully continue to help people as time goes on. So much eternal gratitude for all of you. Thank you so much. Words can't express, and since we're 7.5 minutes in and I've said a lot of words and words can't express, let me get off that jam and get into this reading, because this reading, talk about some nice energy. Hallelujah. Oh, and I'm giving you a little treat tonight. I rarely read this deck in full. This is the David Bowie Starman Tarot deck, and it's a pretty intense deck. Oh crap! You know what? I'm sorry. I gotta move my camera around. Oh Lord, here we go. I knew something was weird in my setup. Sorry, y'all. Kicking it old school with the funky setups, y'all. Keeping it humble. All right. Anyhow, now you can see the cards in the proper direction, because these are all upright. Don't get it twisted here. These are all upright for you. So anyway, this is the David Bowie Starman Tarot deck, and I typically just read arcanas off of this. I'll use, I'll pull just arcanas out of this deck as clarifiers, but I tend to not read the entire deck because as you can see, the art is complex. The imagery is really, really complex. There's a lot of symbolism in that, and this is a whole kind of next level type of read. So I am going to just dive into it, and I'm going to give you a full spread of the David Bowie Starman Tarot, because this really is a beautiful, beautiful deck, and I want to give you these gorgeous messages with some really pretty art to go along with it as kind of a celebration, and yet another thank you for you all and bringing your energy and co-creating with me. All right, for real, enough. I'm getting to this spread now. So, Three of Wands. Well, let me back up real quick. There's a lot of new directions that are coming. On Sunday, we have the spring equinox. So we're getting into the next season, and in about a week and a half from the equinox-ish, we are going to have a full moon cycle. that's going to be pretty exciting. But I'm not going to talk about that yet because that's not quite showing up. This is more that equinox energy. So, Three of Wands is about making decisions. This is kind of looking ahead to the future, looking to, be like into the horizon. He's holding one wand out of the three, and he's looking into all of this light. And there's a lot of electric energy in this card. A lot of sparks, and these are almost fractals, and there's just kind of a spider web going on, and some spirals here as well. But he's got these two wands in the back, and what's interesting about the wands in this deck is the roots on it. Those, I think, are important, and it's kind of hard to see. I know this is one reason Crystal is going on Amazon this week and getting some little lamp that'll just make this work. So, Three of Wands with these, the wands with these roots are important to me because they are showing that you really had to dig deep into kind of some of the muck and some of the dirt to get to a point where you can step away from these and take this new wand and move in this new direction. You all may have been dealing with some pretty substantial karmic energy, karmic cycles, maybe like family karma, like family of origin type stuff. And I think those roots were really set and kind of dragging you down and making you feel stuck for a long time. I mean, this last year has been a lot of slow energy, a lot of stuck energy, and not just because of the pandemic and, politics as they were and all of that. Being stuck in those larger energies of the politics and of the pandemic and all of that kind of made us, we literally had to shelter in place, and that's a lot of time to spend alone. And a lot of people avoid that because, you spend enough time alone and you end up wandering down certain rabbit holes when it comes to your shadow side or past traumas or, things that are unresolved, right? And those things take root. And a lot of times those roots get root rot for you gardeners. Those roots will get root rot, and they render, the roots can render you immobile, but then when you start getting root rot, you start to wither. So what I'm seeing in this card is that a lot of you are acknowledging these wands and acknowledging that they've been really important in your journey, but you're picking up a new one, and there's some roots on this as well, not as deep as these, but you're wanting to set root in another direction. I'm seeing a lot of green and I'm seeing a lot of yellow. So this is a lot of you following your heart. Family expectations be damned, tradition be damned, whatever. Taboos be damned, like go ahead and be your taboo self and do your thing. You're following your heart. And this is your solar plexus, and solar plexus is I am. You are really wanting to move in a direction where you feel comfortable in your own skin, where you feel like you're going in the direction that you want and fulfilling your life purpose, not your mom's, not your dad's, not your grandma's, not society's idea of what you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to do it and what timeline you're supposed to do it on, have the kids and then do that, blah, blah, blah. You are going forth in the direction that you want, and you're finding strength because you've been able to break up some of these roots and get some looser soil and grow something new. Gorgeous. More green. An even higher level energy. This is the High Priestess. This is that witchy woman, intuitive, highly intuitive priestess, right? This is that intensive feminine energy, that very confident, grounded feminine energy. She's very, very, very balanced and grounded and intuitive, where, she can look at her shadow side without fear. And because of that, she is enlightened and illuminated, and she lights this path for others to see. And she can see others as well. She has space to be able to do that. And this is heavy energy in a good way, and in a really good way. This is intense energy. So, you're going in this direction, and it's looking very abundant, right? This guy is green, and he's surrounded by a bunch of yellow. This whole damn thing is green. And, green again is that heart chakra, and it's also just abundance. We're getting into lighter times. Next up is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is another really abundant card. It's a card of choices, card of lots of choices. And once again, we've got a bunch of yellow, right? Here's a combination of the green and the yellow. Whoopsies. Here's a combination of the green and the yellow. Lots of green, lots of yellow. So what I'm feeling is that these two chakras, which may have been pretty stifled because of the kind of time out that we all have had to do for the last year or so, definitely stifled because of that. But I think some of these energies or these chakras have been stifled for a lot longer than that, like perhaps your life. And they're just now starting to really awaken, or you're starting to realize how blocked they were. It's amazing to me what people can get used to, as far as, like kind of staying in stagnation, staying idle, feeling blocked, not listening to their intuition, knowing that they're unhappy and doing nothing about it. Like the things that we can get acclimated to and accustomed to, in some ways is our greatest strength, the adaptability. But the stagnation that can come with, so-called settling, if you will, is so detrimental. And it fascinates me how often people drop their dreams, myself included at times. So Seven of Cups, though, because this energy is blam, Seven of Cups is coming out because you are, again, sacral chakra, you are starting to present to the world and feel more comfortable being who you are, to whoever crosses your path. This is kind of this level of sacral, intense, high-level sacral energy is kind of like, let your freak flag fly. Right? You do you and go for it. And because you're starting to gain that type of confidence and that type of energy, a lot of doors are going to start opening up for you. And that's going to be exciting, because that's what you've been, doing this heavy lifting for, whether you knew it or not. But your hard work is starting to pay off, and you're starting to have an abundance of choices. And that's exciting, but Seven of Cups can also talk about the overwhelm that comes from having so many choices. And the choices may start coming to you quickly. And after a long period of stagnation like we've had, to have kind of this electric burst can be overwhelming. So some of the energy in that is grounding yourself in gratitude and acknowledging, High Priestess, of course, but acknowledging that you've worked really hard. You've worked really hard. Another thing that I'm seeing with these cards here is this one is much more frenetic. It's kind of messy in its own way. There's like a lot of stuff going on. This one, we've got a lot more smoother lines, and we've got, like the geometry up here, sacred geometry up here, and it looks smoother. Like if you look at this, it looks very chaotic. This looks a lot smoother, so that tells me there's some grounding out and balancing out here. Nice stuff. But when we go from this energy to this energy, this is where that overabundance of choice can be overwhelming, because we start to get imposter syndrome. We've gotten used to these rotten roots down here, and even though we know we want something else and we're starting to see the fruits of our labor, we almost get afraid. This can be a imposter syndrome, fear of success kind of energy as well, because now you're getting what you have been manifesting, and now you're kind of freaking out because it's here and you weren't expecting it, even though you were working towards it. Oh, silly people we are. Love it. So next up is Five of Wands, and kind of feeds again into that imposter syndrome, fear of success energy that I was just talking about. Five of Wands is a bit of a card of conflict. And the conflict that I'm seeing here is a crisis of conscience in a couple ways. It could be internal, right? It could be that, that internal fear of success or that imposter syndrome. Do I really deserve this? Oh my God, this thing is knocking on my door. Do I take the opportunity? I think I might be getting cold feet. I don't know. I'm kind of chickening out. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if I'm worthy of this, if I can do this, right? So that's that internal battle. This could also be, and it could be both, simultaneously, because sometimes these things manifest internally and externally at the same time, which added challenge. But this can also mean external conflict. If you are indeed letting your freak flag fly and going in a different direction that, it may deviate from the norm, then there may be external forces that may be questioning you, right? This is where the family comes in. Are you sure you want to do this? Well, how are you going to make money doing blah, blah, blah? Shouldn't you have kids now? Whatever. Like other people trying to dictate your life path and your timeline. And, in the past, that created a lot of chaos internally and possibly externally, because now you're trying to please so many different entities, and the only person that you're not taking into consideration is yourself. And you're getting kind of lost in the noise. But this is a different kind of noise. This is you stepping into that power. Look at this guy, kind of dealing with all of these entities battling. This guy at the forefront. He's got that wand that he picked up over here, right? And he's hanging on to it. And his entire head is illuminated with orange and yellow. Back to that sacral and solar plexus. No, Mom, this is me. No, Dad, this is me. No, friend, this is the direction that I'm going. I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to fight back. And there may be a little bit of electricity and there may be some drama that falls out from that. But I'm feeling that you've got the confidence and the drive to stick with your new path, because you've been working your ass off. And what you do know, even though you don't know and you're kind of freaking out about what direction to go because now you have a lot of new options, you don't know what direction you're going next, but you do know that you don't want to be here anymore. Nice. Really, really nice. Good for you. And you're feeling more confident because you've had a perception shift. The Hangman is all about shifting your perception. You are seeing in a different way. You are seeing your path in a different way. You are seeing yourself in a different way. You have a different level of confidence. You're moving in a new direction, and you're going to go ahead and let that flow. So you have some power here, right? You took that Hangman's, bird's eye view perspective of this energy, and you say, you know what? Looking at this a little deeper, I can't do that anymore. I don't know what the end product is here, but I sure know that this feels better than this. And I'm going to run with it because I'm taking this train. Oh, friends. Nice. Nice stuff. Okie dokie. Let me see if I've got a... let's see what these have to say. Gorgeous. Mystical shaman, high priestess. You're tapping into the divine and you're liking it. You're liking it. You're liking how it feels. You're liking where it's headed. Might even be liking the fact that you don't know where it's headed. But you are enjoying the ride. Big, big difference. Little message for me. Thank you, universe. Little hawk here. Appreciate that. Luminous warrior. You're fighting for what you want. Look at what we got here. He's lit. He's lit. He's ready to go. He's going with this. He's fighting for it. This new clarity, this new direction, this new energy feels right. He's going with it. And this extemporaneous bullshit, this external noise, you'll deal with it. It'll be a pain in the ass. It'll vary from being a pain in the ass to being painful, perhaps, right? These are tough people to challenge, or tough energies to challenge. Family of origin, people that you want to be proud of you, that you know are have your best interest at heart. Ultimately, right? These aren't nasty people. These are people that love you, and that's what makes it so complicated sometimes. Is because of those particular ties. But your solar plexus and your third eye, well, more crown, are illuminated. So much so, and so strongly, that you're willing to stick with this. But challenging, because you are in some ways having to mourn, grieve, and let go of things in your life that once were the way things were, right? Joan Didion, one of the most amazing authors ever, she was quoted as saying once, "I have already lost touch with a few people that I used to be." And that's what this feels like. And this can be hard. This can be really challenging, even though you know that you don't want this energy anymore, and this new direction is the right direction. There is a grief to it, right? That letting go process is not something that I want to minimize or gloss over. And Ghost Dance is saying that, this grief and loss that you may be feeling, that may be manifesting in, feeling like you're letting people down, or feeling afraid to go in this new direction, or feeling like you're having to let go and say goodbye to a piece of yourself, even if it no longer serves you. It did at one time, and that letting go can be very confusing and very challenging. So you're doing a little bit of a ghost dance here, and that's okay. That's okay. This is where the ugly cries come in. This is where this is where the deeply contemplative state kind of comes in. Look how misty this is, right? Look how foggy this is. You know that it's time to go. But it's hard to let go. So I want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge that and carry that energy a little bit for you. Because this is part of the process, and that's okay. All right? Wow. Wow, my friends. God. I've been doing these reads now, these weeklies, for a few weeks, I guess. And I'm always wanting to keep them kind of light. Because I'm like, it's a collective read, it's a general read, it's not a personal read. It's a large collective and so on. But y'all are making that difficult for me to make it lighthearted because you're going through some ish. So, but that's okay. That's okay. We read it. All right, let's see if I can give you a little, a little lateness. Who knows anymore? Let's see. All right, after the great flood, the raven was the first to find land, land to live on, safe and fruitful earth. Fly off and seek your land, safe ground, fertile soil. Ah, friends. Oh. Go forth and do. Go forth and do. Alrighty, friendos, that's what I've got for you. Again, you can find me at Taka Tarot, Taka tarot.com, if you're interested in a personal reading. You can reach out to me on my website. And until then, have a lovely spring equinox and a lovely week. Love you all.